Now then, welcome to the latest instalment of RedArmyTV on the back of the Arsenal defeat. The Arsenal. With me in the studio, backed by popular demand, I'm pleased to say, is Matt Bland. Matt, welcome again.
Thank you very much.
And again, and again. And a bit of a virgin on the show, and it's great to have you with us. It's Mike Harris, my old mucker, who you were pretty close with the guys at Middlesbrough Football Club a while ago.
A long time ago, like.
Used to sort players out with houses and do all that sort of thing. So it's good to have you in the studio.
Thank you.
And if you haven't put two and two together, we've actually got to do the full Monty here. Well, he's going to do it with his legs. Have a look at this from last week.
Well, Moisey, I notice you haven't got any eyebrows.
No, none at all.
So we can't let that one go without finding out a few more details. Come on, Mike. I mean, first of all, the legs. Where did you get them from?
I don't know. I mean, someone said the last time they'd seen a pair of legs like that, there was a message attached to them. To be honest, I think she's cut down to me legs. I didn't expect her to do that. There you go.
It's the missus's fault, is it?
Definitely, yeah. Well, it was.
Was it her hairdryer you were using as a microphone?
It was a hairdryer, yeah.
Yeah. And where did the creative come from? Because it was actually fantastic use of the Moisey interview.
It was. It was her idea actually, and she just thought it would make a good setup, and there we were. I had it on there. It's been viewed a few times, but I didn't expect it to go like it did.
Yeah, well, it just proves, doesn't it, Matt? You've got to be careful what you do and what you send in to us, because we'll just use it.
Indeed.
Yeah. Right. Let's talk footy. We'll start with you, Matt. 2-1 against the Arsenal. Disappointment. I suppose if you look at a game against Arsenal, you would expect them to be high-flying, challenging for the title, certainly within the Champions League spot. But that wasn't the same Arsenal that we saw at the Riverside on Monday night. How much of an opportunity was it wasted?
Oh, big opportunity, to be honest with you. I mean, a lot of the game we dominated it. You could see we were pressing them, and yeah, they obviously got the first goal in, but it wasn't far off. We had a lot of chances that we missed, and it just showed throughout that whole game that he did put a weaker side out, I thought, for Arsenal, and we were just pushing and pushing. It was just unfortunate the final score ended up 2-1.
They've not had the best of runs, have they? Because they've been turned over the last 4 games away from home. They conceded 3 against Palace coming into this one. Wenger said afterwards in his press conference he was so concerned about their defensive displays of late. For the first time in 20 years, he went to 3 at the back, which is unheard of with the Arsenal. It just shows you how much of an opportunity it was for the Borough, Mike. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, the chance was there. I mean, we were up against a lacklustre Arsenal team, and we should have took advantage of it. It's easy for us to sit here and sort of condemn players and so forth, but it's obvious we didn't do what we had to do, and we had the perfect opportunity there to smash Arsenal when they were down. They were very lucky to get a result with Arsenal. I mean, I think we played well in parts, and we showed promise, but at the end of the day, it's points on the board, isn't it?
How much of a missed opportunity was it for us, though? Because we were given a lifeline, we were given another lifeline, and this became our 3rd lifeline.
Yeah, it was a big opportunity, and how many more chances can we get? Well, you can add to that. You've just mentioned earlier. We should have got a result.
Yeah. We're going to come on to what does it mean for the Borough a bit later on, but I just want to focus on the Arsenal game for a while. Tell you what we'll do, we'll catch up with Steve Agnew, because the RedArmyTV cameras were in the press conference, and this is what he had to say immediately after the game.
Obviously we missed an opportunity. We all realise the task ahead, but equally we're 6 points off it, a game in hand and a terrific goal difference. Every game is crucial. Like tonight's game was crucial. Bournemouth's crucial, and that's what we'll do. We'll prepare for Bournemouth and go down there with plenty of confidence.
So the views of Stevie Agnew there. He's quite pleased with what he saw from an effort and performance perspective. Matt, how much has the lineup, the tactics, the team changed since Aitor went and Aga's got in total control?
Not very much, to be honest. I think overall the team have performed better in a sense, but I can't really say I've seen much of a change since Karanka's gone. I think he's kind of kept with the similar lineup. I know he's made a few changes with a couple of players being put on the bench that have not been there for a while, and he's obviously doing substitutes a lot quicker than Karanka did. But I don't know. Not much overall.
Where's your head on that one, Mike?
Well,
we did start with one striker up front.
Yeah, well, we should
Changes
have.
were made earlier than I would, but is there a major change?
Well, I'd say I would have. I mean, we're all experts and all played Football Manager, so you know, I would say, right, you know, maybe we should have gone with 2 attackers straight away and looked at maybe starting off with Traore at the beginning. As I say, it's easy for us to all sit here and sort of talk about things afterwards, but no, I seriously think that, you know, we could have changed a lot more than what we did. We've more or less set up the same again.
But we are attacking that bit more, though, aren't we?
Well, we are, but you know, we're still toothless up front, really. I feel, but there must be a reason for it, because, you know, we're capable of so much more.
Well, it's not just our thoughts, it's your thoughts too. So we'll get them very shortly. Mark's been out and about immediately after the game on Monday night with the Fan Rant camera. We'll hear from you in a sec. But let's get John Nicholson's take on the game itself. He's across in Australia sunning himself for 6 months. Fantastic. But he still does give us his match report.
Once again, we saw just a couple of mistakes, and you get punished at this level. Gave away a free kick on the edge of the area, and Alexis Sanchez converted from half-time to make it 1-0. And for most of the game, we had kept Arsenal's players, their top players anyway, quite quiet. The likes of Sanchez and Ozil were really on the fringes of the game, and Borough were really involved in the game. As I said, saw quite a bit of the ball, got a great equaliser, a great bit of quality from Stuart Downing, and was turned in by Alvaro Negredo, but just switched off again when we had the bit of momentum. Going into that final 20 minutes, we brought Traore on, who made one threatening run when he first came on, but then kind of faded. And then again, just one mistake, a ball over the top, Borough caught ball watching a little bit, and Mesut Ozil nicked in to make it 2-1. And from a game that we probably, as I said, deserved something from, coming away with nothing, and it leaves us in a very desperate situation.
So there are your views immediately after the game. What about the wonderful world of social media? Young Matt Bland. We sent him out on the streets, as we always do. He's been to Off the Ground Coffee House, and he runs through your tweets and posts.
Right, now we're sitting comfortably. Let's begin with your social media comments. Tyler Wilson's got goosebumps off the singing after we equalised. Reminded me of the Brighton atmosphere. Make it worthwhile, our fans. Old Man Relegation, an entertaining game, but that trapdoor getting wider. Rainbow Reds, can't fault the lads in the second half. They give it their all. Sadly, we are simply not good enough, but we will be back. Very Arnie there. Megan, travelling down to Bournemouth this weekend. I can't wait because I love my club unconditionally. If you are travelling down to Bournemouth, do have a safe journey, and even send us your pictures here at Borough Red Army. Finally, Gerard Allison might have a Borough-related man cry tonight. This season, bar the odd moment, has been nothing short of depressing. Interesting comments from you all, and keep them coming in to us here at Borough Red Army. And if you want your picture in like Nicola's got, her picture sent in, then get them into studio at RedArmy.tv. Back to you, Dave.
Thanks for that, Matt, and enjoy the free cup of coffee, no doubt, on Red Army. And he's back in the couch now, actually, so that was done yesterday. A bit of a mixed bag. A bit of a mixed bag in the fan rants after the game as well. What sort of positives did you take out of the match?
Well, the main positive was we actually stood our ground with top flight teams like Arsenal. We played really well. We kept them pretty much on the toes, up and down that pitch. It was just unfortunate that obviously they got the goals in. Our defence kind of lacked by giving I think it was Ozil the second goal. But overall, I think we did great. I think really bring on Chelsea and Man City, really.
A bit earlier, you touched on Adama Traore. You mentioned Adama Traore. He came on as sub.
Yeah.
The national press afterwards were asking questions of Steve Agnew and asking him how much of a frustration he was as a player. And this is what Aggers had to say back to the national press guys.
Yeah, but Adama's 20-year-old. He's not played that much first-team football, and we have to remember that you know, he has a lot to learn, but isn't one for the want of trying. He's he's got such a talent. We just have to keep working with him.
Interesting, Steve Agnew, as you'd expect, defending Adama Traore. He's only 20 years of age. He's only a kid. Could we have used him earlier? Should we have started him against Arsenal?
Well, it was a really good opportunity to use him against Arsenal. I mean, he's a great player, but I think his final touches let him down a little bit, which everyone will probably agree on.
And I think that's what
including
Aggers is saying. They need to develop him as a player.
Of course. But he is a great player, and he obviously causes problems for a team. And I think if someone that causes somebody problems, you should stick him on, especially the way Arsenal have been in defence just recently. I would have stuck him on right from the beginning.
After the break, what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at what the impact of this result's done. Welcome back. Chewing the cud over all things Borough after the Arsenal defeat. Fellas, Mike, I'll start with you first. Another defeat.
Yep.
It was another lifeline we were offered. Is it the end now, or do you still sit there with hope?
I always sit with hope. I'm an eternal Borough fan, so I want to see the Borough stay up, and everybody's optimistic, that loves the Borough. I know that. I mean, I spoke to Mikael Beck.
Yeah, you're a good friend with Mikael Beck, aren't you?
Yeah, I still speak to Mikael now, and go golfing occasionally. But he spoke to me yesterday and passed on to everybody that's watching that he still believes, and he's staying right behind the Borough, and he thinks they'll stop up. Well, I'm a little bit more leaning towards maybe not. But
where's he getting this optimism from?
I don't know.
I mean, he's still well in the game, isn't he? He's an agent. He's a well-respected agent.
He's one of the
now.
top agents in Europe. But as I say, he's a well-liked individual and well-respected, I think, in his career. And he feels that Borough could still clinch it. Never say die with the Borough.
Matt, where are you? We had a conversation yesterday.
Yeah.
We had a conversation last week. Where are you right this moment in time? Are we going to stay up? Is there still a great chance? Bit of a chance? No chance?
There is a chance, but part of me says that no, next year we'll be back down the Championship. But I don't know, there's just that little bit in me, the fanboy in me, that thinks we could just scrape through our teeth and just get in there.
But didn't we need to take points against Burnley? Didn't we need to take points against Swansea? Didn't we need to take points at Hull? Yeah. Didn't we need to do Arsenal?
We did, but I suppose I think the last lifeline we've been given were the results with Swansea and Hull. With their losing their games, I think that could have been just our last lifeline.
But still 18 points on the board, though, isn't there, to go to grab at? And look, the way that Swansea's playing at the minute as well, and if the results go right, we could still draw ourselves out of the relegation zone. But it's going to be a tough old haul, and it's just everybody getting behind the team, whatever you beliefs or whatever you feel about everything and about the way things are, and keep the faith. And
there's a long trip to come down to the south coast, and it's normally a horrendous trip for us. We don't have a lot of good luck, good fortune, and decent results on the south coast. But we'll come on to that in a bit. Something of interest to me was a post that's come from somebody who sat on that chair this week. It was James Lees, who's been a guest on the show a couple of times. He sent a letter to Steve Gibson saying this season hasn't been a season that you promised us, which was to have a go. Where have we fallen short this season?
Where do you start? Well, obviously the Cranker situation hasn't helped at all.
Too late?
Yeah, it has. I think it has been too late. He kind of should have listened to the fans a bit earlier on, especially at the start of the year. I mean, look at our stats. We haven't scored. I think we're the only team in the English Football League who hasn't scored at all this year, or haven't won a game this year. So really, when you're looking at stats like that, I think Cranker should have gone a lot earlier, and it might have given us a better chance with somebody else at the helm.
It started going pear-shaped, didn't it? But when Karanka walked off that time, and
that was last season, wasn't
it?
Yeah,
exactly. And I think that's where it all started to go wrong for me. But as I say, we don't know what the internal workings are. We all surmise, don't we? What's happened? And for me, I think there's obviously a lot of confidence been lost within the club. Maybe Karanka didn't get the signings he wanted. We won't know.
Yeah.
It must be hard for the chairman running the club. I wouldn't like to do the job.
Yeah. Well, it is a tough one, and I said last week you've got to take your hat off to Stevie Gibson for all that he's done since 1986. But there are questions that are being asked, and the fans are asking them. Well, what about you guys on the street then? We sent James Barker out with a camera just to find out your views on Borough and where they stand now.
Here at Red Army TV, we've taken to the streets of Middlesbrough to ask the people exactly what they thought of the Borough game this week and whether or not they've still got the chances of staying up in the Premier League.
I always got confidence with Gibson, and Agnew seems to be doing a good job at the moment. It's hard to break a losing streak. And if we'd have turned our draws into wins, we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in.
Well, you just have to do something, don't you? Change the pattern to see if they can win. It's all about the players, nobody else. The players win, nobody else.
I think they've had the chances in the last 4 games and they haven't taken them. But they're still, mathematically, they can still do it, can't they?
So a bit of a mixed bag, and thanks for James for touring the streets of Middlesbrough. He didn't manage to get himself arrested, which is good news because we'll send him out there next week and see if we can get him locked up for a while. A mixed bag, fellas. The people, a little bit of optimism. People pointing the finger at the players. Is that justified?
Well, yeah, because at the end of the day, they're the guys who are kicking the ball around the pitch, aren't they? If they're not listening to full instructions from the management, the manager can stand on the sidelines, shout as much as he likes at them, but whether or not they do with the tools, you know, that's football, really. Isn't it?
Interesting times. We'll continue the chat in just a second. Look ahead to the trip down to the south coast, the dreaded trip south in but a jiff. But first of all, it's time to catch up with what's been going in around the borough. I'll get me teeth in shortly. Here's Heidi with the news.
MFC is launching its first ever equality programme, River Side by Side, with aim to help the club promote equality by treating people fairly and with respect. The campaign will allow the club to showcase all of the amazing work that both the club and its charitable partner, the MFC Foundation, do within the Teesside community to promote diversity, equality and inclusion. Think to Score, the #1 football quiz app, is here, and Red Army TV is on a mission to find Borough's biggest fan. The game is really simple. You will be given a question with 4 choices and have to find the correct answer before your opponent. If you succeed, the ball advances further up the field and you score. Are you as good as you think? Install the app now and test your skills. MFC's commercial department has announced the seasonal hospitality sales are well up on the same period last year, and a total of over 18,000 fans have pledged their support to the borough by signing up for next season's campaign already. Many corporate fans and businesses took advantage of the early bird hospitality season card following last Friday's deadline. And if you have any borough-related news, please get in touch with us. Email studio@redarmy.tv or via social media @borough-redarmy. And back to you, Dave.
Thank you for that, Heidi. So that's the news. Fellas, it leaves us just one task, and that's to look ahead to the weekend. Matt, we'll start with you. Bournemouth, South Coast. It's not been a happy hunting ground for us in previous years. What are you thinking ahead of that?
Well, obviously, hopefully, we've learnt our lesson when we last played Bournemouth. So hopefully, maybe the Arsenal game has give our team a bit of the lift that we needed to show that we can play well against top flight and that we can do well against obviously low flight teams like Bournemouth. So hopefully we can go in there guns blazing and hopefully get a result out of it.
Mike, you came out with I don't think you said typical Borough, but it was that sort of comment a little bit earlier on. You're a Borough fan and, typical Borough, we could do something special. Is it typical Borough that, we have all these wonderful opportunities and we could go to somewhere that's never given us a return and suddenly do it?
Well, we could go to Bournemouth, we should go flat out against them, we should go straight on the attack. They're going to want to take points because their position is no way secure yet. So we should go in there and be going for a win, not lining up with one person up front. I think we should, put a couple of strikers up there and keep feeding the ball into them and do what Palace have been doing. There's a lesson to be learned.
Is there any hope of getting a result? I mean, should we really get them by the scruff of the neck and just have a go?
They're beatable, aren't they?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Well, they wouldn't be on 35 points if they weren't beatable, would
they? I suppose there's 2 trains of thought here. They're going to be going into the game. Either thinking, it's Borough, they're struggling, they're the only team in the 4 divisions, professional football in England, that haven't won yet this year, etc. Or they're going to go into this thinking, well, a win against these guys today and we've virtually secured our position. What do you think Eddie Howe's boys are going to be doing?
Probably just what you said there, the latter.
So it's going to be a tough one for us?
Yeah, I think it will be because we're both in need of points. As Mike said, Bournemouth are not in a safe position, really. There's chances they could drop. But yeah, I think it'll be a tough game.
Well,
But
it's going to be a tough game, you know, without any shadow of a doubt. And I just think that we've got to take lessons from what's happened already.
Yeah.
And we need to go out there straight away and like get at them and not mess about. You know, the thing is, all this tippy-tappy football is no good to anybody. No.
It's actually taking a leaf out of Bournemouth's book in the way they played, because they just went out all attack in the Championship year and in the Premier League, and they just had a shot from anywhere and just had a real goal.
Well, that's
Is that what we've got to do?
We've got players that can shoot. We've got players that can run at them. You know what I mean? So let's use everybody to what they're good at. You know, don't be feeding somebody into a position or fitting them into a position that doesn't suit them. And so again, I don't want to manage the team, but
But I want a prediction out of you though. So it's time to nail your colours firmly to the mast.
Right.
What do you reckon of the scoreline?
Score. My heart says Borough 2-1.
And are you sticking with that? Yep.
I'm going to stick to it 100%.
Where are you, Matt, with the scoreline?
I agree with Matt. The heart does say 2-1 to the Borough, but realistically, I think it could end up being 1-1.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. I'm going for a Borough win. 2-0. Catch you next week.